chat of our Small Business Tuesday Talk two-a-days. That's a lot of T's in there. Again, we're taking some time out of our Tuesday to highlight businesses within the city that have done a tremendous job in pivoting during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our next guest is Ada Deitman of Flr-pln. Ada is the co-founder and executive director of Flr-pln, and she curates thematic pop-up shop experiences for emerging brands. Their first experience is located at iVillage at MLK. If you haven't checked that out, you should take a look at that. Once we get out of the COVID lockdown, iVillage will be back up and running with some exciting new features that you're going to be able to take advantage of. She has made her impact on startup communities, building co-working communities with the Core Venture Group and producing high-impact activations for brands such as the High Museum of Art, Viacom, Nationwide, Sundial Brands, and more. Her former experience is working in emerging markets, African market, with African companies, and was able to carve out a niche within an oversaturated fashion industry, which increased her startup revenue by $3 million. In 2014, she completed her undergraduate degree in journalism from Clark Atlanta University. So today's format will be the same as the other ones we have. Ada will be chatting with our Assistant Director of Business Retention and Expansion, Sabrina Young-Wright. If you have any questions or comments for Ada, feel free to drop them in the chat to the right-hand part of the screen, and we'll make sure we get them answered for you today. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Ada and Sabrina, and thanks so much for joining us again today.
Thank you, Nathan. It's a pleasure to be here today with Ada Deitman of Flr-pln. Again, I'm Sabrina Young-Wright, Assistant Director of Business Retention, Expansion, and Workforce Programs at Invest Atlanta. So Ada, great. It's great to be with you today.
Thanks for having me. I know we haven't seen each other in a while.
I know. Times are different now. So Nathan shared a little bit about your background, but would you mind telling us a little bit more about you and how you got started?
So I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I've been down here since 2008 is when I went to start school. I have had a wealth of experience from politics to fashion. Like that 20-year, those 20s were very good to me, so I was able to figure out what I really wanted to do. And when I was 26, I started doing pop-up shops around the country for an emerging African brand. Online retailer, and I started to notice that pop-up shops were going to be our future, just because a lot of the malls were closing, and that still kind of makes sense because the malls are, as you can see, people are going bankrupt, stores are closing. We don't know the future of retail, and the pop-up shop model, to me, will continue to prevail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. That's very interesting. So Nathan mentioned a ton of things that you've done in your past. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those different things and why you eventually settled here in Atlanta to start your business?
So, Nathan didn't mention that I started like my understanding the Atlanta startup scene when I was in college under Kasim Marie's administration. So I was a social media intern for his head of communications, Ann Torres. And then she was the one that told me, go out and look at what the emerging startup community in Atlanta is doing. And that's where I got to experience what was really happening with Hippopotamus. Used to be a co-working space before they went online. Atlanta Tech Village was just coming online, ATDC. My friends like Jewel Burks and them were starting their startups. And so I got to see on the tech side, but see, I'm not a programmer. So I was like, okay, this is cute. This is good, but there has to be other lanes for me to figure out in the startup community. And so from there, I just started, I always loved fashion. So when I had the opportunity to work for an e-commerce company that was still tech-based, but I was able to do business development and really grow brands and play with retail, because I didn't have a lesson in retail. But after the studying and saying this makes sense, this clicked to me naturally. And so I decided to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. So right now, I think you have, is it 2 retail spaces here in Atlanta?
Yes. So we
Okay.
have our first one, which is called a beauty bodega inside of iVillage, and that houses 14 emerging beauty and lifestyle brands from around the country that are minority owned. And the other one, we have partnered with the Guild to give emerging streetwear brands. We have 6 brands that we work with inside of the Guild on Auburn Avenue. And we literally, it's opened both stores. I was like in a total time span of 4 months before we had to close. So we were new business
Oh.
owners, and we had to close. So that's going to go into the storybooks.
Oh goodness. So you're right. You're right in the thick of it, which leads to my next question. This has been a challenging time for a lot of businesses, and a lot of them are trying to figure out how they move forward or stay sustainable and during this time. So what has your business had to do to pivot and remain viable since this pandemic has began?
We have received a request for specialized gifts. And so we thought about, okay, what about gift boxes? Or, when the people or brand or companies that want to send their employees or send like a thank you. Like we can do the thank you box,
Hmm.
right? And so we've been doing that. So this week we launched a Mother's Day box that you can get the entire beauty bodega inside of the box, and we'll ship it to you, to your mother or your special lady in your life. And it will just help because you can still experience the store with the products. Yes, you can't physically come, but the store is kind of curated so you can have a feel of what we're offering to the community.
That's nice. That's nice. So how can people find out more about what you're offering right now? Have you moved or shifted more online? And if so,
So
what is your
both
information?
stores are online.
Okay.
Um, the first store is called The Return and is housed on the Guild's website. And then a beauty bodega is housed on our main website for Flr-pln. And you can help on all these brands. The one in The Return all of them are from Atlanta. So, supporting them who are based here is great for local, Atlanta strong. And then the ones that are at iVillage they're from around the country.
That's amazing. So how is it that you've been able to partner with all of these businesses, and for other people who may be interested in young entrepreneurs like you who want to get started in business, how is it that you're able to partner? Where are you connecting with these other young entrepreneurs?
The good thing, I always think about Issa Rae's comments about not looking up, but looking to your left and looking to your right. And
Hmm.
that has helped with my friends, all of us following people. And social media has definitely helped with recruiting because it's easy for me to send a DM and say, hey, I love your brand. I would like to talk to you for 15 minutes to see if you would like to be in our retail space because we are the retailer. That's, we want to be like that Black owned retailer for all brands. And so when they say yes, and it's like, oh, okay, and it's moving forward. So I appreciate all of the brands that allowed me to, 15 minutes to pitch, and they all agreed and sent their products, and that's how we have our store.
That is awesome. I love that. So you've been able to do some really innovative work with virtual meetings and things like that. In particular, 404 Day, which I was
Mhm.
participating in, just watching and enjoying that. So, what was your experience, and how do you see, and do you see that? I'm sorry, as a new normal for people gathering now?
Yes, for a while. I think people are still going to want to go out physically, but my business partner Rachel Jackson, she's really good with aligning influencers and ways to communicate with influencers and people, and I think social media brings a larger audience, as we can see by
Mhm.
those social media battles. I think people still want to still feel the vibration of music or feel the have the sweat or the human interaction because that's what we were made for. um, but right now for emerging brands, I think that we should continue to have these online experiences. Like for us, I would honestly, it's been weird for us just because we were a brand built to be offline. Like
Mhm.
we thought like no. y'all, we need you to come in the store. Y'all don't really like the malls anymore, but y'all want a curated experience, and we're giving you that. So now it's trying to figure out how to give that curated experience to people online when there's a lot of content online right now.
Right, right. So I'm seeing some questions pop up already in our the chats here, and we welcome those questions. We'll ask them just throughout the conversation here. But one question I think is good to ask right now says, where do you see the brand as we begin to open up?
Since our stores are smaller, we can still have like 5 or less inside. I think that a beauty bodega, we can have like only appointments, and you can only shop by appointment. And I think that's safer than having, because there's no way I can fit 10 people in, in our shipping. having 5 in there is tough. So I think for us, we'll be more of like a on-call brand than anything. So like, oh, hey, I heard you have this brand in the store. I want to come get it right now. Instead of having our doors open while we are still trying to figure out social distancing.
Right, right. That's great. So you mentioned shipping containers, and I know that you're located at the iVillage. So can you tell us, is that something that may be a possibility, or just talk more about your experience in a shipping container, and what do you think, how that may be a possibility or effective business model for future entrepreneurs?
Well, we've been seeing on the news that a lot of brands are closing down, and we're talking about big box brands. So imagine, what the smaller mom and pop is going through, right? Because their landlords can't no longer allow them to not pay rent or have back payments. So we believe that shipping containers really are going to be the future of sustainability, as well as being able to start fresh, especially if cities start to consider how these benefit their emerging minority entrepreneur population. Because we learned that a lot of minorities don't own their property and they rent. But if they do rent, it doesn't need to bleed them dry, or take all of their revenue. But, if they were in a space that allowed them to still build and the rent was affordable and they could have community and they could be by public transportation, it would change the narrative, I believe, of small businesses and community. So I think that where we're at, we're very fortunate to have a shipping container and be with other emerging brands, and that people should consider joining iVillage or or another shipping container area where they can just say, hey, let's downsize for right now while we build up. Because at least the container, if you do own your container, you can put it on a truck and move it somewhere else. They're mobile. I also think that's where we're gonna go, where people want to be more, they can't come to me, but I can come to them.
Right, right. So because you're young, you talked about being in your 20s and that giving you a lot of time to figure out what you wanted to do. For someone who may be young like you, another person who's interested in starting a business or who may have recently started a business, what kind of advice do you give to them, or what types of interesting advice would you give to them to get started?
I definitely think I was blessed to have the opportunity to have just a multitude of experiences. And so I think that if you can do everything you want to do, just,
and just see what works.
Just because you're going to, I enjoyed event production, big scale event production. What I did not enjoy is being there for 15 hours a day, right? And you don't get to experience what you put all your work into. But I do enjoy building a very, small, intimate, event, and people can come. And so I just learned how to do that. I didn't like social media. I can do it, right? But I was like, I don't think I want to be a social media manager forever. So but these are skills that I could still use for my business. And that's what I'm doing. So I would encourage, if the skills benefit your business, then just, try it while you can. And if you can't do that right now, like I said, the internet has seemed to, all the content is now online. So, just listen and figure out and just read and do what you feel your spirit is calling you to do.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you are sometimes able to reach out via DMs or whatever to get some more, to get new products into your storefront, into your retail space. So talk about some of those other partnerships that you've been able to curate, whether it be via social media or other things like that.
So we have been doing this thing called, we did a beauty con type of conference for Black emerging beauty brands with some ladies based out of LA. They asked us to participate, and we thought that was a great idea because we were now seeing other emerging Black brands that we never heard of. And so that allowed us to say, oh, well, let me slide in your DM. And let me see, because we were looking for foundation or like, brands that make makeup, and we didn't have that in the store, and we found that brand via these conferences, these these digicons, as people are doing. I know that Scooter does Quarantine Con, right? And I think his platform allows people to find anything you want. Like there's a time and a place for his program. So we just been able to recruit based off of people saying, "Hey, we like your brand. Do you want to do?" And why not? I guess right now we don't have time to say no. Why would we say no? Why would we say no? Right? Like we're an emerging
Right.
We can't say no. We're still, just because we work with emerging businesses, we are still an emerging business. So we still need we still need to say as many yeses that we can to project our company.
Okay. That's good. That's good. So for people who may have brands and different products that they would like to have placed into your store, how would they go about doing that?
So it goes to the website, www.flr/pln.com, and go to contact, and then they can contact us. We have an application process that all brands go through. Because even though we feel like you're emerging, we still like to see how much work and time you put in your own brand. And so that tells us a lot about your company and how how focused you are. Even if you have a full-time job, we have some ladies that have great products that they really took time to think about the details of their emerging companies. And so that's what we look for when we recruit.
That's awesome. Do you have any specific types of products that you specialize in? And do you have the same products all the time? How does that work? How do you change over? Or how
So
do you make decisions as to what you're showcasing?
with Flr-pln, we also rotate the brands. So the brands that are in the store won't be in the store in 2021. We'll have an entire new group. And what we try to do is that we try to make sure that they don't compete against each other. So we'll probably have one lipstick brand, an eyelash brand. We'll probably have one, but we do have one like face wash. So like if someone is doing a facial cleanser, we won't sell the other person's facial cleanser, but we may sell the other person's facial, lotion and serums. And so we try to make sure that they're not really competing on the shelves. And we also try to make sure that they blend very well. Because we also have like an artist who paints in the store, right? It's a beauty bodega, but you have artwork. Yes, we have artwork, but it
How does that work?
it flows very well on the walls because her minis are made like they have like head wraps, and they're like the lipstick, and it goes perfectly with the products that we have. The other store, their clothing, but they all have a different personality. And what we didn't know when we were recruiting, that many of them already did collaborations with each other.
Okay.
So we have brands that had like, oh yeah, we have a shirt together. Oh, we have a bag together. Oh yeah, we're doing this together. I was like, we didn't know that when we recruited, but we noticed that community is important when building our type of store.
Are all of your brands Atlanta brands, or are they from all over the country?
So the return is everybody from Atlanta. The Beauty Bodega, I think we have only three that are based in Atlanta. Everybody else is from around the country.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. You talked about earlier, you mentioned something about technology and how you weren't really intending to be online when you started out. Can you talk a little bit about how technology kind of influenced your business or what you're doing in that aspect right now to I guess keep your business afloat right now or to push it out more?
Well, I remember that it's good that even though I wasn't into coding and being a programmer, I was still able to build our e-commerce website. And that's because I had the experience from the African retailer doing, building that while helping bringing those designers from Africa and putting them online. And so it was the same thought process, how to, just using that tech background to put our items online. And then now with Facebook, I can connect Facebook to our Instagram and you can shop via the app. So just, using these platforms because Facebook, who owns Instagram, isn't charging yet, but still being able to have different sales funnels. We use Squarespace and we don't use Shopify. If we really were going to just like play on e-commerce, we would use Shopify because I do think it is a better tool for e-commerce. But I feel like since we're trying to stay curated and we treat the online shop like a pop-up shop. Because once we're able to open, and it may not be online anymore, so you have to get it right. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any brands that may be environmentally friendly? We're getting some other questions in our chat. So
yeah, so we have all of them inside of a bodega are vegan, free. They have the bunny on them, and they're natural. Even
awesome.
The soy wax. So
wow.
Yeah, because
what are some of the products that you have in your store? I know you mentioned some of the beauty products and the art. Like what else can someone expect to find in the bodega?
So what we did, so where we're located in Atlanta, we have 2 big beauty supply stores. And they don't carry what we carry. And I'm very proud about that because we were like, you need natural products for your hair, for your body, we carry a comb collection that's called Cosmology, and they are in HSN as well.
Wow.
So their comb is patented and it's good for natural curly kinky hair. We have Candy by Paints, which is a vegan-friendly nail polish. We have Lamique Beauty, which is based out of Houston, and they focus on the eyebrow. We have Skin Scholars based out of DC, and they have like a farm that they produce their products on. So they are working with also a multi-generation ingredients, so passed down from grandmother to them. We have the Glamatory, which is based in Smyrna, who has their own beauty shop. She also has her own products. We do lipstick and eyelashes with her. We have Skin Deep Body Care. They are based out of, they're from Chicago. They just moved to Atlanta, and she has her products in Whole Foods and with us. We have Carbella Skincare. She's our chemist, so she's a professional chemist. And
wow.
Products. We have Brijo. We do have sunglasses because I want you need sunglasses.
Everybody needs sunglasses, especially in Atlanta.
Especially Atlanta. She's a native Atlantan. She's also on the radio. Brie Renee. We have Chiquita Brugetta, who makes our affirmation candles, and then we have Sensational Candles. He's our only guy in the store. I forgot we do have one guy in the store, and he makes store-based candles. So you can see that we have Mommy Wipes out of LA. So we have like a collection of different pieces, and inside the return, we have Been Broke Before, which is, it's for motivational users only. We have Raunchy Clothing. We have Grail. We have We Society. We have Heritage Socks. We have Rags Boutiques. And so we really, especially in Auburn Avenue, we were trying to bring back Black wealth what it used to be on that street. And so that's why we was like, Dr. King is buried across the street. We're trying to bring back that spirit. And so hopefully if we're able to, come back outside by September, we can really, August, celebrate, the Sweet Auburn Fest they have and really showcase those companies.
Right. Are you looking to expand and bring in more brands into your store, into the Sweet Auburn location? And or are you at maximum capacity right now? What are your plans for growth right now coming out of COVID?
I think after this, we're going to see probably an increase of brands inside the store because I do think that a lot of people probably lost retail locations,
Mhm.
and we still want to be able to provide people like a home because inside the return, they're only there for 6 months. And so we still want to be able to create, give people who don't really have, like if they're losing their business and they still want to have it open, we want to provide that space, especially like for Christmas, because we want to do like a whole Christmas store of Black owned Atlanta brands inside that store that you can only get on Auburn Avenue.
Yeah. What are some of your requirements for someone who's interested in having their merchandise placed in your stores?
Um, Details to your product. So style is very important. You don't have to necessarily have a social media following to have your products in our store, but we have to make sure that we think that it's still um of trend. That you'll work with us to, when it's time to do events. Each brand gets their own event, right? And so, are you able to work with the community to help your brand grow? Do you have the sizes? Does your sizes go up to 3X? Because I have gentlemen that come in the store and like, you got a 4X? So for your size, does that work? For different body types, and just to say that we're both emerging and we're working together to make sure that your brand finds a home in someone's closet or someone somewhere else. And we really want that store on Auburn Avenue also to be like a tourist location, right? So if they're coming to Atlanta and they need something and they want something cool and fresh, they can come with us.
And so what made you decide on that specific location? And just coming out of this crisis, I know you're saying that, there are a lot of people who may want to reconsider the retail concepts or may want to just, instead of using their own space, may consider having their product sold in not a store like yours. And even just what are some of the different creative ways that you've been able to continue your business now?
As like the return, are you are you asking in the way that we still trying to get clientele or just how we're getting the brand?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
So even for the return, like remember I told those boxes that we were doing for a beauty bodega?
Yes.
We've had requests. We had a brand, someone asked us to put order basically 4 jackets from one particular brand because they were gifts to some people on their board. And so we also feel like the return will also have the same experience as a beauty bodega, especially when Father Day comes, because a Father's Day box will be
Yes.
what we do for the return, and we think that that will help it be helpful because those products are a little bit bigger, so you can only get like 1 or 2, then you can get the beauty bodega. But we do think that the gift box is going to be our way to continue to help that store grow.
Is that something you think you'll continue even
Yes.
after this COVID, So that's
Mhm.
something new that you've started because of this, and you think
Yes.
that's something that you'll continue in the future. Okay. That's great. I think a lot of business owners are finding that to be true. Maybe, they've had to reconsider how they do business. And
Mhm.
now they're finding ways that, hey, this may be something I'll continue even after the fact.
Yeah. The post office is my friend, so I don't need the post office to go out of business at all. 'Cause they help these small businesses.
Right, absolutely. I mean, all the shipping and everybody's sitting at home ordering from home now, and so I think the gift boxes is a great idea. That's a great thing. Well, we're just about out of time. So I just want to thank you, Ada, for sharing your time and your experience and your story with us today. It's just been a pleasure talking to you. We're going to, and I also want to thank everyone who's listened and joined us today and posted questions, and that's just great. We really appreciate that. We'll be sharing this broadcast on our Invest Atlanta YouTube, and it's already, of course, on our Facebook page. We'll keep it there for a while. And if you'd like to follow Flr-pln, you can reach out to Ada and Flr-pln. And Ada, would you provide your information one more time for us, please?
Yes, so Flr-pln is spelled Flr-pln on Instagram, and then on Twitter it's called We Are Flr-pln. And you can check us out on there.
All right. Thank you so much, Ada, and I wish you so much more success in your future.
Thanks, Arena. Bye.
Have a wonderful day.